23. I was born in Paisley and I'm here to talk about endo. I was diagnosed when I was 18 through a laparoscopy, which is basically an operation where they put a camera inside through your belly button and kind of down and have a look about and see what's going on. Not only did I find out that I had endo, they scratched all of it out, so with like a curette they basically took as much of it out as they could. But I also found out I had something called ovarian drilling, because I have been diagnosed at the same time with polycystic ovarian syndrome. So I have had all kinds of different treatment. When I started my periods when I was 10, I went to the doctors after 2 years, I think. My mum took me and she said, no, something's not quite right, this isn't just your periods. And they tried me on something called methylenic acid, which is meant to just make your periods a bit lighter, make it more manageable. And then for years and years I was back and forth at the doctor, and then I finally got forwarded for an operation, the laparoscopy, to actually diagnose what was wrong. That helped, but it only helped for 2-3 months at most, and the recovery from that was horrendous. They pump you full of CO2 gas so that your abdomen expands, and then obviously they stitch all the holes that they make back up. So the gas has nowhere to go, so it just rises and it stays in your shoulders, and that is so painful, as well as your womb. And like the wounds, you also have your abdomen. Like you lose a lot of like muscle in your abdomen, so you basically need to start from scratch, kind of like getting to use your tummy muscles and everything. After that I waited a while to see if things got better, and it didn't. And then the gynaecologist put me on 6-month trial of basically a menopausal injection that is meant to shut your ovaries down completely, tell them to go to sleep. And that comes with its own set of pain and own set of symptoms. So I felt like the jag, it's a big jag, it's a big needle, it's about that big, and they put it into your bum muscles, and because it's quite big and it goes straight into your muscle, it is really uncomfy. And also sometimes they can hit your sciatic nerve, which makes your whole leg go numb, and tingly and painful. Sometimes they can just hit your hip, which has no fat on it, so that can be really, really excruciating. And then after my first jag, I walked out of the doctor's office, and immediately I was hit with such bad cramp. I was almost crying walking home, and I was still kind of bleeding. I was still bleeding for 2 months after that. I was spotting toward the end, and then my periods did stop, but then came all the side effects of menopause. So I had like a weakness in general. I was very emotional, very moody. I had horrible hot flushes all the time, day and night, and they got so bad that I phoned the doctor because I didn't know what to do, and it turns out they forgot to give me a medicine that helps with that. I think we're going to discuss longer term menopause and or surgery. They might remove my ovaries and they might give me a complete hysterectomy, just depending on if they go in and what they find, because it could be worse. I personally have never really wanted children, but the fact that it would be really, really hard for me to conceive makes me feel like a default woman. It makes me feel like I'm not any good and I'm not a real woman, and I'm like a fat to be reject. And I still don't want children, but the fact that I don't have the choice makes me really, really upset, because I just like to function normally like everyone else. I have lots of pain on a daily basis. Sometimes it's worse than others, but I'm usually just constantly, no matter what week or what month it is, I'll always have constant dull pain. So sometimes it feels like I'm getting tattooed from the inside out. Sometimes it feels like my ovaries are gargling. It can feel like sharp glass and sand and grit and rust are just moving all about my womb and my ovaries. So this here is Buscopan. I take that because it says it's for IBS relief, but it really helps kind of take the edge off of any cramps if they're quite abdominal. It really, really helps. I take tranexamic acid. That kind of makes your blood clot a little bit, so it's not, your flow isn't as heavy basically. You can only take these for 4 days usually, but I'm allowed to take them throughout my period. This is nodocysterone. This works by telling your hormones to calm down a little bit. You're meant to take these for 10 days, but again, I'm allowed to take them throughout just so I can cope a bit better. And then these here are venlafaxine. I take those for my mental health. They are antidepressants. With endo comes a lot of depression because it's quite hormonal. So I take them to cope a bit better with life and the anxieties and stress of having endo. Endo has affected my social life huge amounts. Sometimes I will wake up feeling fine and then all of a sudden I will just get the most horrific exhaustion and cramp, and then I'll end up going out for maybe an hour, maybe half an hour, and then I'll need to leave somewhere. Or sometimes I'll just need to cancel plans last minute, which makes me really upset. But sometimes I kind of pre-plan, so if I know I'm going to be somewhere all day, I'll bring all my medications. I will bring extra like tampons or sanitary towels. I will bring heat pads, stuff like that. I'll make sure I always have water on me, and I'll make sure like that I know where the bathroom is in case of emergencies, because my flow is so heavy that sometimes I need to change a tampon every half an hour to an hour, which is not only painful but it's not good for your body at all. So a difficulty that comes along with endo is it's really painful to have sex sometimes, but contrasting to that, a side effect of having polycystic ovaries is that you have a very high sex drive because your body's producing more testosterone. So you want to have lots of sex, but equally it really hurts. So it's kind of an ongoing battle that you need to pick. Will I be sore or will I just not have sex? I am very lucky in the fact that I have a very understanding partner. He's very gentle and caring and constantly asks me stuff like, are you okay? Should we try this? Should we try and stop? Like, he kind of lets me take control in that aspect, and obviously I'm very comfy with him. On average, from start to your diagnosis, it takes 7 years to get anywhere, and diagnosis is usually only done through a laparoscopy, but there's now been some research into seeing if you can get blood tests done to show it. It's very hard to get believed by doctors, and it's very, very hard to find doctors and specialists to understand specifically, because everyone has different stages and everyone is unique.
If you didn't know she had endo, you would never guess. You just would never ever know. It affects everything that she does, or can't do, you know, like having to be in your bed for hours and hours at a time because everything else hurts so much. Obviously, what is a chronic illness and what is yourself and your personality is still such a radiant light. Like, she'll just carry on.
Even though Karen's in pain most of the time with her endometriosis, she does her best to not let it stop her doing what she wants to do, still has fun, does things that make her happy.
She always cares for people even when she's in pain. She will always put someone else first above herself, and that's a rare thing to come by. I feel like everyone needs someone like Karen in their life who's just a strong, fierce woman. I see Karen as a sister and I love her so much.